Uh, this particular, actually it's a late session, so as it is told that I remember a story of a teacher who came to class in time and then told that, do you know what I am to taught? Then everybody told that no. Then he told, if you don't know, then I am going out, so no need to take the class. Next day he came and he asked the same question. Students were smart, they told yes. Then he told, if you know, then I am going out, no need to take the class. Next day they did some floor management like parliament and they come out with a solution. Half the student told yes and half told no. So he told, those who knows it can tell those who don't know. So I am leaving the class. So like that, the situation is like that. But still, as the invitation is there, so I am giving my presentation. This particular work is in fact my stay to my earlier institutes, particularly at Ranchi, Jharkhand in some watershed project as well as Karnal, CSSRA Karnal, the poor quality water. From the experiences of those two, it is punched together as some traditional knowledge also we had collected and those in this particular. So climate change, just everything was told almost, but in a sense that it's a defining moment of our time, we can say, climate change, and it is here to stay, and we have to do something on that. And also IPCC advocates different, say, for local solutions is one of the criteria. Of course, it is there in the biodiversity, International Biodiversity Clause, it is there, but explicitly not there in IPCC. But later on, they have introduced this. This is known to everybody, so I am skipping. Major water concerns, this was also dealt. Mainly, perenniality of river will be reduced with time. That was one aspect, everybody was told. And then another thing is the water scarcity. Scarcity at some places and plenty at some other places. Wherever it is plenty, that also it's more than optimum is always a problem, and less than optimum again a problem. And for that, we have both some technological advancement already we have, and some of these are known to us. Only thing is a packaging is required, pyramiding is required, location specific pyramiding is required. Decreasing per capita water availability in India, as far as India is concerned, and it's projected that it will reduce to great extent, and with particularly with urbanization as well as better paying capacity, particularly for the industry side, water will be still less available for the agriculture with time. Another thing, way of looking into it is how the per capita water availability as well as population, how the curves are moving. So that intersected already around, say, somewhere in between 81 and 91, and now the per capita water availability, which is to be optimum, from their departure from that is getting further with time. Again, the same per capita water availability for different, one is water stress line, another water scarcity line. If we see both the lines, we are moving towards scarcity line gradually. And at some places already we have crossed the water stress line. And then it is difficult to even survive after we cross the water scarcity line. Then basin-wise per capita water availability, this was one estimate was done at the different basins of India. Again, we see that most of the cases, the water scarcity line has been already been crossed if we take a basin-wise estimate of different rivers. Then per capita storage wise also, India situation is somewhat precarious than others, and it is in fact one of the very low per capita storage capacity in India. If there is a drought situation, how to address that drought? To address that drought, main thing is how much per capita water storage is available. India, that per capita water storage is also very less as compared to global average. Then days of average flow which reservoir can store, that is also, if you see, all India average is about below 20. So this is also another point where in different, as different speakers from advanced countries they are presented, here also they can address drought situation for longer duration than what we can do in India. Then another thing is we are also advocating, and rightly so, it is required also, farmers are also diversifying, but what happened with different sector wise, if we see, then also diversification due to different, if we tell that value farming or some high value farming, high value crops need to be taken up, water availability needs to be assured for the farmer. Otherwise, any diversification will not be successful. Only thing is diversification towards dry region crop or dryland crop, that can also that can survive. But if we take high value horticulture or agriculture where return is more, water availability needs to be assured. Here also we can see that through the study of IFRI, it has shown that this value, if we see value addition, if we want to do in agriculture, then also our requirement is far more. Another thing is what I was telling, that industry is having a better paying capacity for the water. So with time, what we already from agriculture to other sectors, water demand and switching over of water, allocation of water is getting there. So it will be far more with time, and ratios will be, for the agriculture, it will be far more disturbed with time. Status of groundwater level in Delhi, another study, it was shown that it is gradually, the problem is arising. Then it was also dealt, the situation is 17% population is to be survived with 4% fresh water resources, so that of the world. So that is another thing, this ratio, and 11% of the livestock has to be supported with that 4%. I am skipping all this water. So what is the way forward? We have already developed some technologies in different ICAR institutes as well as in other places also in different situation. So one way of addressing it is switching over to crops where water requirement is less, and if where water is a problem, then rice is of course the best crop where water stagnation is already there. No other crop can be grown. But again, to address the short duration or short spell of drought, rice crop can be taken in some other technological mode where it can be grown and assured yield can be achieved. Then key water issues, of course, it was dealt by some other speakers also, so I am leaving this. Then solving. Now some on-farm irrigation hydraulics, that laser land leveling is one technology propagated by different institute along with CSSRI also, CSSRI Karnal. So this is one technology where by land leveling we can achieve great amount of water efficiency, on-farm water efficiency. Then micro-irrigation system, it was dealt also. Then cropping pattern, particularly for Punjab and Haryana, CSSRI for the last say 25 years, it was told to the farmer and propagating that that is not the area where rice to be taken up. But the thing is, due to this, particularly for MSP support and storage, because of non-perishable in nature, this is very difficult to divert until unless we have some major policy changes on that aspect, or MSP may be extended to other crops. Until unless that is done, then it is very difficult for the farmers to get convinced to switch over to other type of crops. Then improvement in groundwater recharge and groundwater use, that is also many works were done. Dr. Kamra particularly did many work at CSSRI. That is another way of looking into it. Then land preparation and all, and some water saving technique like laser land leveling and all, I have already told. But after doing all this, are we in a position to address the water, say the three drought type of situations are there. One is late onset of monsoon, another is long dry spell in between the growing period, and another is early cessation, withdrawal of monsoon. So whether we can address those things through this type of technology. None of this technology in fact attempt to alleviate those type of problem. So what is the way out? traditional knowledge through, we have seen that some of the traditional knowledge based technologies which is being practiced for centuries by some tribal farmers and indigenous population, those can be very well adopted in the by the farming communities. Methodology was used, this was mainly done from by the practice by the tribal farmer, those are collected. Of course, we had collected many technologies, but those which are validated economic wise as well as scientifically, those were being dealt in this paper. Then mainly Ho, Santal, Munda, Orao and Lohara, these 5 type of farmers, they were practicing this particular traditional knowledge. Then after identification of focus group, we collected primary data, and then there are some, we have segregated the traditional knowledge to 2 types. One is which are age old and which are being practiced for the recently, say last 15 or 20 years only. Earlier it was not there. From the peer exercise only, that was segregated in 2 parts. And we assumed that those which are being practiced for last say 15 or 20 years, those are actually some kind of adaptation came out because of this change in hydrological regime or weather pattern or rainfall pattern. So these are the steps: rapport building, then peer exercise, development of questionnaire, pilot testing, then sampling, then individual interview, focus group discussion, village workshop, and ultimately after correction of, there are some misinterpretation also from different focus group. After scientific correction, those were taken as traditional knowledge. Yeah. This is stone bunding. One thing is being practiced for centuries. These were being practiced by the farmer for long, since long. And this is very low cost. Any gabion structure, any type of structure, if you see, it is 1/10 to 1/50th of the cost one can prepare very well. And there is stone cum earthen bunding. This is being practiced by some farmers. Again, this is old practice, not new. So we are searching what are the new one. Then stone cum vegetation barrier, again these were being practiced by the tribal farmer. Again, since long, it is not very new. So this one is actually, this has come 10 to 15 years only. Brushwood Westway. This particular structure, this is new in Jharkhand. It was not earlier practiced, 15 years or so there. So this was, we presume that this is one which was actually in to adapt the climate change, it was being practiced by the farmer. So it was classified like that. It was again practiced by, since long, grassy waterways to divert water and to save erosion prone land for cropland. But the next structure, this structure is again a new one. This is not very old and this is new, and this is 15 to 20 years they are practicing this particular structure. So this structure, in fact, this is because of their adaptation to climate or rainfall change, they have adapted this. So with this we can come to some conclusion, like one thing is planners and policymakers, they can use this tool in harmony with other available tool. So fusion of the two, neither this traditional knowledge nor the modern technology perhaps have the answer. If we think the fusion of these two, we may have the answer. Number 2, indigenous people and their knowledge is central to adaptive changes using available natural resources. That has to be appreciated and that has to be taken. And then this particular indigenous population, they can be made, or they can be made a vigilant enterprise. Instead of segregating them as illiterate farmer, they can be made as vigilant enterprise for saving natural resources as well as for adapting change situation. And then this enabling policy, structural reform and institutional capacity, these 3 things are should be there to steer a boat from any rough weather. So this region specific amalgamation of traditional knowledge and modern technology is required for better adaptation to climate change. Thank you very much.